we do have a champion, and it is our beautiful boy, beautiful boy, beautiful boy. I saw they were having a drinking game in the chat, so we're going to get him nice and toasty right out of the gate. Viktor Hovland is the winner of the Tour Championship. He is the winner of the FedEx Cup. He is 27 under, 5 shots better than anybody else in the field. We will dive deep into this round and its implications. But Patrick, we'll just kind of start here. It was we kind of thought this was going to be the case last night, right? I mean, this was a massive lead heading into Sunday, barring something crazy. Viktor was going to be our champ. So it felt a little bit like a nice little victory lap around Eastlake.
To a certain extent, I would agree with that. I would say something kind of crazy did happen with the man he was playing with putting together the round that he did. And for Viktor to, play the way he did, it easily could have been a Scottie Scheffler scenario. The same variables were present there. You had a guy trying to chase you down who was playing great golf, and you're going after, massive payday. So very impressive stuff from Viktor. Really, the 2 par saves that he had, the first one coming out of the rain delay on number 2, where that easily could have been a 2-shot swing early, and they come away all square on that one. And then the big one, the mighty fist pump on the 14th, all the way from Norway, just slamming that one in Xander's face from 23 feet. That one really put the tournament on ice for me. But yeah, I thought it easily could have. It was supposed to be stress-free, and it certainly looked stress-free, but the way that Xander played, it made it all the more impressive from Viktor.
The thing that we were terrified about, Greg, you alluded to it. We were terrified that Xander Schauffele was going to go out, shoot something low, continue his dominance around Eastlake, and steal this thing from Viktor Hovland. He did most of it. 62, the best round of the day. And actually, Viktor said afterwards, this start from Xander, 4 under through 6, 5 under through 8, forced him to change his strategy from more of fairways and greens to, oh boy, better go out here and make some birdies, which obviously, spoiler alert, he did. But Xander applying pressure.
He applied a lot of pressure. After, what was that? After 12, it kind of tapered out a little bit, which you can give him some credit for, because he was just throwing it at every single flag. I mean, every time he looked up, it was coming down right on the flag. Between the 2 of these guys, they had a combined 20 birdie putts inside of 15 feet. And that almost seems low when you were watching it, because it seemed like all day long, both of them had 12 feet for birdie. And it just an incredible back and forth duel. This was unexpected to me because I didn't see this rain delay coming. I knew there were chances. We had another one pop up right over Eastlake, just like yesterday. But ultimately, I thought the golf course yesterday was too firm for a round like this to be put together. And when the rain delay comes in and the greens are a little more receptive, all of a sudden this door was open, and Xander stepped through it. He needed some help, and unfortunately didn't get it.
Best round of the day, Xander Schauffele. Second best round of the day, Viktor Hovland. KP 62 and 63, a bogey-free 63 for Viktor Hovland, including birdies on 16, 17, and 18 to slam the door.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, and I think look at his last 2 Sundays. The numbers are a joke. Right, he's 16 under over the last 2 Sundays to win. Wow, that was pretty good, producer Josh.
Yeah, Josh, did you just make that, or do you have that ready to go? I hope you must have had that ready to go.
Yeah, he had to. These numbers are just insane. With they're not major championships, but I think they're. Rick, I think what he's done over the last 2 Sundays is kind of emblematic of the 4 of us. We're watching every round, every shot, we're deep in the weeds. And so we're like, hey, Viktor Hovland has made the leap. Well, to us, that's true. But to people who casually follow golf, as of 10 weeks ago. He hadn't won this year, you know? And so I think these wins, whether it's Memorial or the last two, kind of the way he's won the last 2 weekends they're not validation for him or for us, because I think you kind of know like where the game is at and how much better it's gotten. But I think they are sort of this forward facing, public facing validation for everybody else of like, hey, Viktor Hovland's one of the 3, 4, 5 best players in the world. And that's probably been true for about 10 months now. So I just thought it was incredibly impressive.
The trajectory up and to the right, Patrick, and happening very, very quickly. The year started off for Viktor, lost on the range in Phoenix, not really knowing where his game was at. Now he is a much improved, a short game player, and is just diabolical in the ball striking categories, and is now contending and winning big time events.
It's pretty cool to see. You know, he's only 25, which I think gets lost on a lot of people because he has, you know, experienced some downturns in his game. You think just back to last year, and he kind of looked like a deer in headlights in that final round at the Open next to Rory McIlroy. You put him out there this year with Rory McIlroy in the final pair, and we saw it last week at the BMW Championship. And just that step, you know, on the elevated event stage, on major championship stage, with $18 million on the line, it's massive. It's a huge step. And for him to be one of these guys where he can, I mean, it's tough to say because Scottie Scheffler can't putt, but like he makes big putts, like massive putts. And I think that says just so much about him and where he's at mentally, which is, you know, obviously more important than what's going on physically.
Yeah. Real quick, Rick, I think the two things that I was thinking about on Sunday, I tweeted out a little thing about this. I actually wrote about some of this for CBSSports.com, but the two things that impressed me most about him this year, he was a great ball striker from day one. The day he turned pro, he was probably one of the 5, 6, 7, 8 best ball strikers in the world, which is crazy for somebody coming out of college, but that's how good he was. So go back and look at the numbers. Even in 2019, they were really, really like top percentile. But what he's done in fixing his chipping and working on his course management is just giving himself more and more opportunities to win. Right, because even if you don't fix the chipping, you're so good with your ball striking that you're going to have some opportunities to win. He's just increased that number by working on his short game, by not short-sighting himself, like he's talked about a million times. But then I think the second thing that's really impressed me about, like with the last couple of weeks, even at Memorial, he clearly is not scared of the moment. Rory said this after playing with him last week. He was like, man, he is, I think he said fearless. Like he's not scared of it. He wants the ball, which is not true of all these guys, right? Like there's a lot of guys out there that don't want the ball, you know, and Hovland wants it. And I think that to me is the fun part to watch, because you can talk about the ball striking. You can look at the statistics, you can do the numbers, but to actually want the ball late in a tournament on a Sunday afternoon when you've got a lot at stake, that's a different thing. And Hovland definitely has it.
It's a really good example of how much juice there is to squeeze out of a lot of these guys' games, but not everybody's willing to do it. Not everybody's willing to do the Bryson attempt to try to squeeze 2%. Not everybody's willing to be the last guy on the range. Not everybody's willing to look stupid doing something. And he is not, I mean, he's obviously started at a much better spot than a lot of these guys, but there is so much juice to squeeze. Greg, Kyle's absolutely right that in 2019, in the half a year that Viktor had after turning pro in June, right? I think it was like John Deere. He did not have enough rounds to qualify for stats, but if he did, he would have been, oh boy, let's see. He gained a stroke off the tee and a stroke on approach. So he would have been the second best approach player that year between Henrik Stenson and Justin Thomas. And he would have been the second best driver behind Rory McIlroy. So that part's been sound for
That's
a long
crazy.
time.
And remember, he was the one guy who didn't get his PGA Tour card, right? He had to go to Korn Ferry Tour Finals to get it. Matt Wolff and Colin Morikawa both got it through a win for Matt Wolff and enough points for Morikawa, I believe. But if you take that year out and you look at still the ball striking numbers, even this year, they're still better. I mean, this is his best season ever in driving accuracy, his best season ever in greens regulation, and I believe strokes gained approach, excluding 19. His best season ever in birdie average, his best season ever in scoring average. I mean, there's a lot of attention that has gone to the short game. I think it's his best strokes gained putting season ever as well. But there are a lot of areas that he's improved. A lot of attention has gone to the short game, and rightly so, but it's not just the short game, right? I mean, everything has gotten incrementally better, and it puts him in position to get into a Sunday and feel like he's ready for it. He feels like he's prepared. He at least looks like a guy that thinks he's prepared, and he knows that he's put in the work. And so it's time to just stay out of your own way. And that's what he does. He stays out of his own way. And that is not easy to do. This is such an easy tournament to lose and have a debilitating Sunday. If you think about what he had to do against the Zan man, as Patrick would call him. I mean, he had to go shot for shot. How many times was he hitting second and answering the bell, right? Hitting it in there to 8 feet. I mean, there were probably 6 daggers that he threw out there today. Well, I mean, what is Xander feeling like playing against this guy? I can't gain one.
Yeah, you shoot a 62, and what'd you pick up? 1 shot? Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you turn in 30. You pick up 1 shot.
Yeah. Tough scene. I had something else I wanted to ask you, Patrick, to put a bow on this. Oh, yes, I remember. The rumblings are starting. I'm seeing them already in the chat.
Are you starting them?
No, I'm not. I'm just stirring the pot. I'm just stirring.
I like it.
We spent the vast majority of the year talking about a big 3. Rory McIlroy, Scottie Scheffler, Jon Rahm. Is there now a big 4, or are we prisoners of the moment? Yeah, he won the Tour Championship, but it's closely tied to the BMW, so it's only 1.5 wins. We did this to Patrick Cantlay, yada, yada, yada.
I think the gap from number 4 to number 5 in 2023 is substantial.
Who's number 5?
5 is probably Cantlay, 6 is Xander. Those are the 2 guys. They're
1 and 2 in the fraud rankings.
Is it?
No, Xander's not in the fraud rankings.
Yeah, they're your 5 and 6.
I think it's really hard, Rick, to get caught up in the big any number because it changes so much, right? Like
the big X.
It'll change by. I mean, you could have somebody go win the European events right before the Ryder Cup, and you're like, oh, big 7, and it's like I don't know. It's always changing. I think the thing that I would say is that Hovland has made a leap into a different tier of player in 2023 than he was in 2022. I think that's sort of indisputable. Now, I don't know who's in that tier or who's not in it or whatever, but he has made a leap up that has been, he's different now than he was in any previous year. And I think that's been, I don't know how you would argue with that